to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
Shannon Jones.
And how are you employed?
I'm a sergeant with the City of Detroit Police Department.
And are you assigned to a special unit or division?
Yes.
And what is that?
I'm assigned to homicide, missing persons unit.
And how long have you been employed in that role?
I've been at missing persons since 2013.
And before that, where were you at?
Patrol.
Okay, and how long were you there?
I've been on the department for a total of 24 years.
Okay.
So throughout the prior years to missing persons, I had various assignments.
And what is your role in this case?
I'm the officer in charge.
What does it mean to be an officer in charge?
So I'm in charge of reviewing all the evidence and spearheading the investigations, looking into all the facts and possible suspects and information that's brought to the case and to compile it together.
Okay. And what would be some common duties that you would do in partaking in those roles?
When it comes to missing persons, specifically those type of cases,
Yes.
so a missing person case, when someone's reported missing, we always go out to the home, search the home, talk to family, and try to get a good timeline of when that person was last seen, their common habits, where they are supposed to be, has any patterns changed, are they not going to school and not going to work. If the investigation leads us to believe that that person may be in danger or that there's something more to just not coming home, then we start pulling different video and try to look into cell phone data or friends or associates of that specific missing.
And in particular, have you investigated what would be known as a no body case before?
Yes.
Okay, and what does it mean to be a no body case?
That would be a missing person that we have come to the conclusion is a victim of a homicide. However, we were unable to locate or recover the body.
Okay, and how does that kind of investigation differ, if at all, from another investigation that you would do?
It's a little tougher. You need to go through and kind of be able to show and establish that this person is no longer with us today. When you have a body, it's obvious, then you can come to the conclusion and work your case that way. So on a no-body case, you're trying to find any signs of life, any evidence to show that there might have been some possible danger or some assault that may have happened to this person.
Now, I'm sorry, when did you get the case of Ms. Aya Harris?
So it was first requested to me on February 12th. I received the email, which just kind of asked me to look into the case. It wasn't at our building yet or at our department. I looked into the case and I saw that DPS was initially assigned the case, and I had reached out to Lieutenant Harris from DPS to kind of ask for an update on where they were, kind of see how the case was progressing and any evidence that they may have had.
Okay. So, after that, how did it come about that you got this case?
So after meeting and discussing with Lieutenant Harris and reviewing the different things, it was determined that there had been enough suspicious possible things connected to her being gone. Number one, she's never been missing before. There's been no updates on any of her social media, which is very uncommon for a young child or juvenile. They're addicted to those. There had been a last known contact that she had possibly met somebody, is what we were informed, that there was a text message for her to be picked up, and that would have been the same day that she went missing.
So, when you first officially received this case, tell me, what is it that you do right off the bat?
So this case was a little different because we kind of had to go back. We were already a month behind. She went missing January 9th, and now it's February 12th. We start kind of looking into what has already been done and then what steps I would normally take moving forward.
Okay. So, what kind of steps do you take moving forward?
So once I reviewed the case, and it was determined that the last person that had contact with Naziah was Jarvis Buds, I then started to look into his phone records, his activity, places that he had been. On the 12th, we had determined there was already an analyst that had looked at different records and given us a location out in Ypsilanti. So I coordinated a search for the very next day, on February 13th. We went out to Ypsilanti. We conducted the search. It's a large area, and it wasn't pinpointed down to a specific house. There was a lot of wooded area over there. We had multiple teams out there. There was probably over 60 people at one point. We then started going into different businesses to look for different video that we may be able to recover close to the intersection that we believed would be a good starting point in that search area.
And did you recover, or were you able to recover anything or find anything from the Ypsilanti area?
We did find some video that was eventually pulled from a gas station.
And what was, I guess, the condition of that video?
So the video is from a gas station. It shows the intersection, I believe it's Michigan and Carpenter, which is actually, I think that is like a Springfield township. It's kind of like a little small city just outside of Ypsilanti. At that point, we didn't know exactly what we're looking for, so we just kind of pulled like the window that we knew the devices were out there, specifically Jarvis Butt's device that was out there. So we kind of just pull all of that video before we lose it. And then as we gather more information, we can kind of go back and look at the video to see if there's something now that we can focus in on what we should look for.
Okay. Now, that brings up a good point. You said you're a month behind on this investigation.
Yes.
So, that, fair to say, being a month behind would cause you to potentially lose critical pieces of evidence.
Yes.
Okay, and some of those pieces of evidence, fair to say, could be videos.
Correct.
Okay. Why would it be that you would be losing those videos?
So most video systems, and every business is different. You got green light, you have businesses and people that have their own residential cameras or property cameras, and it'll vary. Some of them start overwriting in 48 hours, some of them is a week, some may last up to a month. It just depends on how large their system is and how much data it can hold.
And is that a struggle that you encountered in this case?
Yes.
Okay. And where is it that you encountered that?
So there's several cameras and videos throughout the entire route of travel that later in the investigation we were able to identify. But as we identified those locations and went to see if video was still able to be there, it had already been overwritten or was not available.
Okay. Now, I want to take you back. You did the search in Ypsilanti. Did you do any other searches kind of immediately at that time?
Yes.
Tell me about one of them. We're going to go through them, but start with one of them.
Okay. So after we didn't find anything in Ypsilanti, I kind of got to go backwards a little bit and go back to who we had known was the last contact with her, which was Mr. Butts. So we did a search warrant for his home. Later, I believe it was like later that night, 13th into the 14th, we had kind of worked all the way through.
Okay.
We did a search warrant to obtain his cell phone so we could try to do an extraction. We contacted the jail to look through his property. There was no cell phone in the property. We then ordered the jail calls to see if there was any conversations, anybody that he had talked to. We knew that he had turned himself in on February 7th. As we started to listen to those jail calls, there was a call where he had asked his shop partner, Cordell Wright, to retrieve a phone out of a vehicle. We then went and picked up Mr. Wright and brought him down to our headquarters to talk to him about the cell phone. He did confirm, and he acknowledged the phone call. He said that vehicle came up there, was a Tahoe, Tashi's vehicle, Tashiana, and that he had looked in the back seat and tried to find where the phone was that Mr. Butts kind of described where he had hid it in this vehicle. He said that he was unable to locate it. So at that point, we then did a workup on Tashiana to find out where she lived, what type of vehicle she had. It matched the description that he kind of described. We did a search warrant for her home in an attempt to locate the cellular device and any other possible evidence that may help us and direct us to where Neziah is.
Okay. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit. You started off with you did a search warrant at Mr. Butt's home.
Yes.
And would that be the one on Wilshire?
Yes.
Okay. And did you find anything at his house?
Yes.
And what is it that you found?
So from his home, we had recovered, there were some electronic devices. We recovered some phones, maybe a tablet, and we recovered his ID, wallet, and a firearm that was with his wallet. I believe there was 2 actual firearms, and then there was a long gun, a rifle that was in the closet.
Okay. And did that search warrant include a vehicle?
Yes.
And what kind of vehicle did it include?
It included all vehicles that we believe may be associated. At that time, we impounded a Cadillac Escalade.
Now, you said at that point you knew that Mr. Butts had turned himself in to, is it the Wayne County Jail?
Yes.
And that was back on February 7th of 2024?
Correct.
And at that time, did you know how long he was serving a sentence for?
We had got information that he was possibly going to be there till December.
Okay. And that would be completely unrelated to, that sentence is completely unrelated to your investigation?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said that you had pulled some jail calls, and that's what led you to Cordell Wright.
Correct.
And that that jail call that you had listened to, that was previously admitted as People's Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Okay. And that led you to Tashiana Davis.
Correct.
And then you subsequently executed a search warrant at her house.
Correct.
And is that on Neff Street?
Yes.
Okay. And she had a vehicle there that matched the description that Cordell Wright had given you?
Yes.
Okay. And would that have been a Chevy Suburban?
Yes.
Okay. And then you subsequently searched that vehicle?
Yes.
And what is it that you found in that vehicle?
I found in that vehicle a iPhone 11, and it was in the exact area that Mr. Butts had described to his shop partner Cordell, where it would be located.
Okay. And that phone, okay, so ultimately, after you do that, what's the next step that you took?
Well, we had to identify that was the actual correct phone. It was in the right place, but we still needed to get it to our headquarters and download it. We had the phone there. We made a call to 911 from that phone in order to see what the identification number was to try to verify, so we weren't just taking random phones. It did come back to Jarvis Butt's phone number that we were looking for. The phone was then placed on evidence and taken to our base.
And what's the next thing that you did after that?
So after that, the phone now is getting processed under the search warrant.
Okay.
It is given to, was given to Detective Markle, where she processed that. We then continued. We had searched the residence on Wilshire. We had searched Neff. We also executed a search warrant at 9000 Connor.
And what's 9000 Connor?
9000 Connor is the location that was identified that Jarvis Butts worked at with his shop partner.
Okay. And did you find anything or anything at 9000 Connor?
We did take some things as evidence. There was a lot of activity going on, so I had multiple different units from within our homicide squad assisting me with different search warrants that we were executing. I believe it was the Northeast squad actually executed the Connor location search warrant. They were advised of some items to look for, obviously children's clothing. We had been given a description of a Rugrats jacket with a fur hood. We were given the clothing description. At that time, we were told that the shoes were possibly blue and white Nike shoes that we had been looking for. There was an area in the shop, as I reviewed the evidence, photos where there's like children's coloring books and maybe things that when the children are there that they're using.
Were any interviews besides the one with Cordell Wright taking place at this time?
So at that time, I had interviewed, when we went to Wilshire, we had interviewed the woman that he lives with. I don't know if that's a fiance or girlfriend, but that was Miss Angel. We interviewed her there. Tashiana was in the hospital when we had executed the search warrant at her house. I had had a conversation with her on the phone while we were there. Her children were there. I scheduled an interview for her later. I believe it might have been like the next day or two later that she came down to headquarters. We had interviewed Cordell at that time, and now we're just kind of going through everything that we had at that moment to try to take the next steps.
Okay. When about is Mr. Butts interviewed for the first time?
So he was interviewed, we got it, looked at it on the 12th, the 13th, we executed all the search warrants. On the 14th, Mr. Butts, I believe it was the 14th, he was brought down to headquarters, or the 15th, I would have to look.
Okay, and that's okay. So it would be just a couple days after you get the case?
Yes.
Okay. Based on Mr. Butts' first interview, which your Detective Mays here testify about, did you do anything based off of that interview?
So based on that interview, we had obtained the text now, which was turned over to us from DPS, which was the initial, I believe it was like maybe 1 week's worth of text now, so like the very end of December into the 1st of January. So during that interview was when it was asked by Detective Mays and Detective Johnson regarding the text message about meeting to be picked up.
Okay. Now, if you know, can you estimate about how many search warrants did you execute?
Probably over 20. Throughout the entire, it has to be over 20.
Okay. And what kind of searches were done in this case in general?
So we searched, as far as like land searches.
All kinds.
All kinds. Well, we searched Ypsilanti as we did our workup, and we're looking at different locations that Mr. Butts had been to. We identified an area out in Clinton Township that he had gone out to back and forth before, and that was an area that Shannon Harris, his child's mother, had lived at. So this was kind of like a route out there, and we located, there was like a big retention pond out there. So that was another place that we had dive teams come out. We had the helicopter, the cadaver dogs, and we searched out in Clinton Township. As we start breaking down the phone, mapping a little bit more on Mr. Butts' phone, it kind of led us to 7 Mile and Berg.
And what's out in 7 Mile and Berg?
So 7 Mile and Berg, there is a vacant parking lot on the southwest corner. It used to be a golf course. So the entire south side of 7 Mile, from Berg and then heading back east, used to be a golf course, which is now shut down. And then on the other side of Berg, there's a parking lot where it has like a vacant building, which used to be the clubhouse for the golf club. And then right behind that parking lot is the Rouge River.
And when's the first time that you get out to 7 Mile and Berg?
We went out once. It was probably maybe a couple weeks later that we went out there. We went out there once, and I remember it had snowed. So when we went out there, it wasn't as easy to search. We're kind of looking if somebody was just placed out there or if something was easily identifiable, but because of the snow, we knew that we were going to have to come back again once that melted because it'd be easier to see underneath.
Okay. And so do you go out there again?
Yeah, we've been out there multiple times. I've probably been out there 7, 8 times, all with various dive teams. We searched the complete river from 8 Mile all the way down past 96 on foot with cadaver dogs, in boats, in the water. There's several log jams. We had state police actually had their helicopter fly the entire route so we could GPS all the log jams. We had to coordinate with specialized teams to come in to help cut these log jams apart, which go throughout the river. And then throughout the season, obviously we had some rain, so the water goes up and down, which now brings the debris onto the land, so you have to actually search the land a couple hundred feet in some places that the water has pulled debris. We searched the homes, as I said, searched the vehicles.
All right. So when you're out there at 7 Mile and Berg, do you have an idea of what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the idea of what you're looking for?
So initially when we were out there, again, we had the clothing description. We had the picture of her that she had sent that night or that day that she went missing on the 9th. So we were looking for the black hoodie. We were looking for, again, initially we were told blue and white gym shoes.
Now, is there a time where that changes?
Yes.
Okay. And what is it that makes that change?
So as we go out to areas and search, when we leave, a lot of times large community groups may go out there, right? And they saw that we were at 7 Berg, and I know people come out there to help. There was a group that had been out there and they were recording, and they saw a pair of Nike shoes, which were the red and black. We were alerted of those on our initial search. It's documented in our river search report, but because we weren't focused on the red and black and we were looking for blue and white Nike shoes, we left them there, but we did GPS the coordinates.
Stop you right there. That would have been Border Patrol agent Wyatt Barnes.
Yes.
Okay, you heard his testimony.
Yes.
All right. So continue.
Yeah. So on our initial search, we knew they were out there. The pink hoodie was identified, but we didn't collect them because, again, we didn't have anything about a pink hoodie or a pink onesie, and the shoes weren't matching. And there's a lot of clothing out there. There's a lot of shoes out there. There's people's clothes. There's all type of debris. So I can't collect every single piece of clothing and article that we find. Later, I get the information that as the search team is out there, they had called 911 because they saw these shoes. And they posted a picture of these shoes somewhere or sent it to Naziah's brother. Naziah's brother then reached out to me and he sent me a picture of Naziah wearing the black and white Nike shoes.
Okay.
Once I saw she had the exact same shoes on that are depicted, that were described out there, I knew immediately where to go. I gathered a couple members of my team and we immediately went back out to where the shoes were GPS located and recovered the shoes. As we were there, that's when we found the black hoodie and then the pink jumpsuit that had been laid out by Agent Wyatt.
Okay. Now, as it relates to those red and black Nike shoes, you had a photo that they were associated with Naziah in some way. Did you ever end up asking Annette to see if those shoes were still in Naziah's possessions?
Yes.
Okay. And did you ever end up recovering those pairs from Annette?
No.
So, after you recover the pink jumpsuit, the black hoodie, the shoes, what do you do with them?
Those are all, the evidence techs collect them. They're placed on evidence. Those items were wet, so I had to wait, obviously, for them to dry. Once they're ready to be processed and they're finished drying, then I create a lab report. And items are selected and turned over to the state police lab for processing to look for any type of DNA evidence.
Okay, so once those are placed on evidence by the lab tech, you're the one who then submits them to Michigan State Police?
Yes.
Okay.
There may be some of the lab reports where I had gathered the evidence and one of my partners had gone down and physically took the items to the lab, which is all in the same building.
Okay. Now, I believe you said at least one time when you were out at 7 Mile and Bury that it had been snowing. Were you at all, I guess, familiar with kind of the weather back, let's start with back in January 9th?
Yeah, so I searched it. There's a weather site where you can search the dates in the cities and what the weather was like. On the 9th into the 10th, it had rained here. If you remember, we had a very mild winter. In 2024, the January months, we had a lot of rain that month, which would have caused, the water levels to rise.
Now, is there, did you interview a Tijuana butts?
Yes.
Tell me how that came about.
Tijuana actually reached out to me. Shannon Harris had reached out to me. She had had a conversation with Tijuana. She asked if it was okay for her to give her my phone number. I told her that that was fine. She gave me a call. She said that she was the sister of Jarvis Butts and that she was concerned that she may have seen Isaiah but wasn't sure on the date and if she could come down and talk.
Okay, and that's all what she had testified to that you had heard?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you also heard that she had given Detroit police consent to look at her phone locations and perform a phone extraction.
Yes.
And that Detective Sarah Markle is actually the one who performed that extraction.
Yes.
Okay. Did you yourself look at the phone location data that was on Tijuana's phone?
Yes, so even before we extracted the phone, when she was in there in the interview, she had given me consent to look at her phone. She wasn't quite sure how to get to the locations. She had Google on her phone, so we went to the Google Maps, went to her timeline, and then specifically clicked on January 9th to see if it showed her route. When we got to the January 9th date, it was confirmed that that is the date that she was at 9000 Connor. And it helped us with the timeline of when she was there compared to when we know Mr. Butts left that location to head out to Ypsilanti on the 9th.
And Your Honor, may I approach People's Proposed Exhibit 85?
Yes.
I mean 58. Sorry,
Yes.
numbers. And it's marked as People's Proposed Exhibit 58. Can you look at that and tell me if you recognize it?
Yes, this is a Cellbrite extraction report that was conducted by Detective Markle for Tijuana Butts cellular device.
Okay. And that report specifically includes the location data and in the subsequent pages as it relates to Ms. Butts' call. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the screenshot photo locations, location data from Tijuana Butts' phone that you observed that the day when you interviewed her?
Yes.
And I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 58.
No objection.
This is being yes, People's 58.
And I want to direct you to the, I guess it's gonna be page 3 of the report, both 4 of the report. Let's see, page 5. Where does it say that Ms. Butts was from 3:45 p.m. to 5:16 p.m.?
So it gives the location described as, on here it says Citgo, and it gives the address of 9000 Connor Street, Detroit, Michigan, 48213.
And do you know do you know Mr. Butts's 9000 Connor auto shop to be connected with a gas station?
Yes.
Okay. Now, to go back just a little bit, you said you were kind of going through all the phone mapping in order to kind of backtrack as to where your investigation goes and where you should search.
Yes.
And those maps were testified to by Sergeant O'Rourke.
Yes.
Okay. Now, she mapped certain locations, and she believes she stated that you had given her some of those locations to map.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I want to direct you to in People's Exhibits 33, 34. Here, may I go? The blue dot here. What is it that indicates, and what is the importance of that?
This blue dot is going to be 9000 Connor.
Okay, and that's the address associated with Mr. Butt's auto shop?
Yes.
Okay. And that's the same for Exhibit 34?
Yes.
Okay. And Exhibit 35, there's the same blue dot and then a purple dot. Tell me, what is the significance of the purple dot?
The purple dot is going to be the residence that Mr. Butts resides at on Wilshire.
Okay. And in Exhibit 36, on page 2, there's like another, it's like a pinkish kind of purple dot. Can you tell me what is, I'm sorry, red dot. What does the red dot indicate?
The red dot is going to identify 20,000 Harper, which was the Park Crest Motel.
And on page 4 of 4, there is a lighter purple dot along with that red dot. What does the purple dot indicate?
That dot is going to indicate 4 East Alexandrine.
Okay, and what's the significance of 4 East Alexandrine?
Mr. Butts has a different girlfriend that lives at that location.
And in People's 38, there's a red dot. Which dot is that?
That would identify 7 Mile and Berg.
Okay, and is that the same 7 Mile and Berg? You tell me. What was found at 7 Mile and Berg area again?
7 Mile and Berg area is where we identified the hoodie, the pink jumpsuit, and the shoes. And it's also the area that Mr. Butts' phone was mapping with. There's an additional search area that I did not include when she had asked me before, and that was where the ID was found. We had found the ID, or received the 911 call for the ID before we went back the second time out for the shoes at 7 Mile and Berg. So we had also searched all of Evergreen. There's the Henry Ford High School over there. We searched behind the school, the wooded areas, and all the vacant homes in that surrounding as well.
And that would have been the ID that Miss Smith had recovered?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to go into, you had a chance to go through Mr. Butt's phone extraction, is that fair?
Yes,
Okay. And did you also do a search warrant as it relates to a Google account for Mr. Butts?
yes.
Okay. And how was it that you knew what his Google Gmail was?
That was documented when I went through the cell phone.
Okay. And you got a chance to go through, or you sent a search warrant to Google for it, right?
Yes,
Okay. And you got a chance to go through that search warrant return?
yes,
Okay. And that's the search, or that's the Gmail account that would be associated with Mr. Butts.
correct.
And now may I propose exhibit 63?
Yes.
And you mark the proposed exhibit 63. Can you tell me, do you recognize what it is I just handed you?
Yes, this contains jarvisbutts82@gmail.com, which was his Google subscriber information.
And that's the first page. And the second page is, what would those include?
The next pages include searches that I located inside that Google return that we received from Google.
Okay. And does that document fairly and accurately depict what it is you received back from Google as it relates to a search warrant for jarvisbutts82@gmail.com?
Yes.
And I move for the admission of Eagle's proposed exhibit. I forgot. 63.
Any objection?
No objection.
It'll be a minute as People's 63.
Okay. Now I want to go back to the first page. And you said that with the subscriber information. Tell me, who is the subscriber?
So it has a Google account ID number, then it gives a name that says Jarvis Butts. It has an email address, jarvisbutts82@gmail.com. There's also a phone number that's connected to it, which is 313-585-8719.
And is there a birthday associated with that?
Yes, November 21st, 1982.
And moving on to the searches, what dates do those searches encompass?
These searches are December 9th,
Of what year?
yep, December 9th, 10th, and 11th of 2023.
Okay. And it's fair to say that those are the entirety of all of the searches from those days?
It is not all of them, no.
Those are just select ones from the Google return?
Yes.
All right. Starting with December 9th, tell me which ones that we have in that exhibit.
So the first, you want me to read the ones that are just highlighted, or you want me to start at the top of here? So,
The ones that are highlighted.
okay.
Just start with the ones that are highlighted.
Yep, so this search was December 9th, 2023 at 3:32 UTC time. So you would actually have to subtract 5 hours, which would make it the night of December 8th. And the site is, what's visited, it's Drink Me and Abort Your Baby, the Herbal Abortion Tea by Maya.
Okay. And what about the next one after that?
There is a site that's visited on December, it says here December 10th, 2023 at 9:32 p.m. UTC, so -5. And the site visited is Planned Parenthood, learn/abortion/the abortion pill.
And
next-
yes, the next
The
one.
next search is immediately after that, so December 10th at 9:32 p.m. UTC. The abortion pill. Get the facts about medication abortion. There is a search that was conducted before that on December 10th, 2023 at 9:31 p.m. UTC. And that site is plannedparenthood.org /blog/can I use herbs to have an abortion at home.
And the next
The
one.
next one is December 10th, 2023 at 9:31 p.m. UTC. Can I use herbs to have an abortion at home? Planned Parenthood.
And the next one.
The next one is December 10th, 2023 at 9:36 p.m. UTC, so again, minus 5 hours. And that site is, it's ansirh.org, research, over-counter medication abortion. Search December 10th, 2023 at 9:36 p.m. Over-the-counter medication abortion, and that's from that same place before, ANSIRH. December 10th, 2023 at 9:32. Planned Parenthood, abortion, the abortion pill. How do I have an abortion using only misoprostol, misoprostol. The next search, December 10th, 2023 at 9:32. Planned Parenthood, learn abortion, the abortion pill. So it's like the same, back and forth to the same site. On December 11th at 11:43 p.m. UTC, so minus 5 hours, specifically is searched is, can I drink red antifreeze? Again, that same item is searched again right after the same time, 11:43 on December 11th, 2023. And I believe that's it.
Okay. Now, in that phone extraction that you went through of Mr. Butts, that Detective Markle had admitted, were you able to go through, and I know you had mentioned there was a Text Now app and Text Now phone numbers that
Yes.
have been associated with Neziah.
Yes.
When you went through Mr. Butt's phone extraction, did you find any of Neziah's Text Now numbers?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall if what was on his phone? First of all, did you eventually do a search warrant for Text Now?
Yes.
Okay, and did you receive messages back from Text Now?
Yes, so the initial Text Now messages, again, DPS had done those and they had only gone back like a week. I had another search warrant submitted to Text Now and requested to go back to January 1st of 2023.
Okay. And when you found these text and messages on Mr. Butt's phone, did those include all of the messages that you got back from Text Now, or just only parts?
It's all the messages through text now that were to that number that was assigned that Naziah was using on text now.
That's what you got back from Text Now.
Yes.
But I'm talking about on Mr. Butt's phone.
Oh, Mr. Butt's phone specifically was just the messages from text now between him and Naziah.
Okay, and did it include everything that you received back from Text Now, or?
No.
Okay. And Shannon, may I approach?
Yes.
Approaching with Nicole's proposed exhibits 46 and 47. Can you tell me, in exhibit 46, do you recognize what I handed you?
Yes, this is a extraction report for a iPhone, and it was for phone number account 313-585-8719. And this is the section in that extraction about messages.
Okay. And is that exhibit, proposed exhibit 46, is that a fair and accurate depiction of the messages that were on Jarvis Butt's phone between his phone number and the number 213-743-3173?
231, yes. 231.
Yes, 231.
Yes.
Sorry, numbers. 231-743-3137.
Yes,
Okay. And those are the ones that you had seen on Mr. Butt's phone.
correct.
And I move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 46.
No objection.
It'll be admitted as equals 46.
And those cover a period of October 7th, 2023 through November 23rd of 2023. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And now I want to show you proposed exhibit 47. Do you recognize what I handed you in 47?
Yes, this is another extraction from the phone, and this is under the message section.
Okay. And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the messages that you went through on Mr. Pluck's phone to the number 313-379-5882?
Yes.
Okay. And I would move for the admission of people's proposed exhibit 47.
No objection, Your Honor.
It'll be admitted as equals 47. Can you repeat that phone number?
Yeah, 313-379-5882.
Thank you.
Thank you. And those would be from the date period of September 26th, 2022 through September 30th, 2022.
Yes.
And now I want to show you what's already been admitted as people's exhibits 15 and 16. And these were already admitted. These are certified copies of text now messages. So I want to talk specifically about subscriber information within them. In People's 15, is there a subscriber as it relates to
Yes.
Okay, and who is that subscriber?
Excuse me, you need to let me hear. I can't hear you with your back turned.
Okay, so is there a subscriber as it relates to that?
Yes.
Who is that?
The username on here is Kenyatta Harris 955.
And are you familiar with the Kenyatta Harris?
Yes.
And how is it that you're familiar with her?
That is Naziah's biological mother.
And is there, on the next page, is there a phone number that is associated with that account? It might be on the subscriber information too.
Yes.
And what is that phone number?
313-379-5882.
And what is the period of usage for which the subscriber Kenyatta Harris had that phone number?
The phone ownership is from September 24, 2022 through November 8, 2022.
And for the subscriber information in People's 16, Can you tell me, who is the subscriber there?
The subscriber here, the username is Naziah Harris 74.
And is there a phone number associated with that?
Yes,
What is that phone number?
231-743-3137.
Okay. And is there a phone ownership date period for that?
Yes,
What's that date period?
January 1st, 2024 to February 6th, 2024.
Are you familiar with the location of 17500 East Warren Avenue in the city of Detroit?
Yes,
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Somebody's already admitted. And I'm showing you people's 4, 5, and 6 already admitted. How is it that you're familiar with that location?
this is Frank's Auto Repair. It's located on Warren, right at Neff, 17500 East Warren. This is a location that Jarvis Butts worked at prior to working at 9000 Connor.
And that's in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes,
Now, did you yourself, I want to go into the interviews with Mr. Butts.
yes,
Did you interview Mr. Butts?
yes,
Okay. I want to start with an interview back on May 31st, 2024. Do you see the person that you interviewed in the courtroom today?
yes,
Okay. Can you point to him and tell me the color of the clothing that he's wearing?
yes. He's sitting behind his defense counsel. He's wearing a face mask and he has the Wayne County green jumpsuit on.
Okay. And Your Honor, would the record reflect that witnesses identified defendant Jarvis Butts? And we've been talking this whole time about a Jarvis Butts. Is that the same Mr. Butts in the courtroom today?
Yes,
Okay. Now, this interview back on May 31st, 2024, where was that at?
that was at the Wayne County Jail.
Okay. And who was all there?
Myself and Sergeant Lance Sullivan.
And do you recall about what time this interview took place?
It was in the afternoon,
Okay. Or about how long did this interview last?
like 2-3 hours.
Okay. And with Mr. Butts, did you ask him about his education and speaking English, things like that?
Yes.
And did you offer him any food or drink?
I believe at one point we had asked him about if he needed some water because we had been there a minute.
Okay. And did you read Mr. Butts his constitutional rights?
I believe Sergeant Sullivan went through those with him.
Okay. And was something used to assist in the reading of those rights?
Yes.
Okay. And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Handing you with Smart People Proposed Exhibit 26. You tell me what it is I just handed you.
So this is a Detroit Police Department constitutional rights, advice and rights form.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the one that was executed back on May 31st, 2024 with Mr. Butts?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 26.
No objection, Your Honor.
It will be admitted as People's 26.
Thank you. And did Mr. Butts, did he sign or initial acknowledging his rights?
Yes, he read them and he initialed them and he signed.
Okay. And did he agree to speak with you two?
Yes.
Okay, and I would pass for voluntariness.
Sergeant Jones, you came to interview my client on May 31st, correct?
Yes.
It was you and you said Sergeant Sullivan?
Yes.
Were you aware he was represented by counsel at that time?
Yes.
In fact, did one of you call his counsel and ask for permission to interview him?
On that date?
Not on that date, prior to that date.
Several months before, yes.
In April 17th, in fact, right?
I don't have the exact date, but it was a couple months before that.
And the words used were under no circumstances, right?
Under no circumstances.
May you interview Mr. Butts?
Well, that's not true.
You were not told you could not interview Mr. Butts?
Judge, I would object. This is a legal argument. Only the client themselves can enforce their right. A
That-
defense attorney cannot enforce their right to remain silent.
I just asked a question. Was she told not to? She couldn't interview him?
So,
1 second, Will. Were you getting ready to say something else?
And it has nothing to do with this interview.
If we're talking about voluntariness, I want to see, was she aware that he had a right to have his counsel? They contacted his counsel. His counsel told them, no, do not interview him. That's my.
You're saying this had nothing to do with this interview that you're speaking
Yeah,
of?
this was 2 months prior. That was not this day. This was completely separate. And a defense attorney cannot invoke their client's right to remain silent. That's just the end of it.
It's true.
So, you and your partner went to speak to Mr. Butts, correct?
yes,
You took him. Where did you interview him from? At?
at the Wayne County Jail.
Okay. Did you interview him on the? This was at. Forgive me. At Division 1.
Yes.
Beard. Did you interview him on his floor, or did you take him somewhere else?
I don't know where his floor is, so Wayne County had prepared a room for us to be able to interview him.
Okay, so you took him to another room, and you and your partner interviewed him,
Yes,
and you gave him his constitutional rights, and you did not give him food or water, correct?
correct.
You don't know what time of day this was?
Well, I just saw the form here, so I see it's about 1 in the afternoon.
Okay. Were you aware that he was working at the jail?
There had been a conversation that he was given some small duties, but that it had been taken away from him.
Okay, do you know if he had worked that day?
That I do not recall.
Okay, and do you know if he had actually been to sleep prior to you visiting him?
When we talked to him, he didn't seem sleepy.
Do you know if he had anything to eat prior to you visiting him?
He did not complain about being hungry.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to pass voluntariness.
Thank you, Judge. Now, this interview with Mr. Butts on May 31st, 2024, was that recorded in any way?
Yes.
And how was it recorded?
It was recorded with a body-worn camera from the Detroit Police Department that were issued, and it was also recorded on a audio recording for voice only.
Okay. So it was audio and video on the body cam and then also just
Yeah,
audio?
so 2 different factors.
Okay. So, and it's fair that you had seen this video prior to today?
Yes.
Okay. And when you saw that video from May 31st, 2024, was that video a fair and accurate depiction of the video interview that took place?
Yes.
And I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 27.
Any objection?
No objection.
It will be admitted as People's Exhibit 27.
Thank you. And for the audio, do you have a chance to prior listen to that?
Yes.
And was that audio a fair and accurate depiction of the audio that was recorded from the interview back on May 31st, 2024?
Yes.
And I move for the admission of People's Proposed Exhibit 28.
Any objection?
No objection.
It will be admitted as People's 28.
Thank you, Judge. And you also interviewed him, well, well, let's go with the 31st. Your Honor, may I publish?
Yes.
Thank you. And I made clips this time. I'm not going to play the entire video. And for the record, this is from Exhibit 26, and it's clip 1. And this is clip 2.
I can't hear anything he's saying.
He is very quiet. I don't know if it's my volume that has to go up.
Let me try turning it down on the TV. I can't hear one word.
Give me a try now. This is starting it for clip 2. Now, in that clip, Mr. Butts was talking about him keeping his distance given his history,
Yes.
and that he tried to help as best as he could with flyers.
That he was trying to help with flyers regarding this eye being missing, yes.
Okay, now I'm going to play clip 3.
One of the allegations, they said that I was supposed to be in the area, she was telling me I was supposed to be in the area all the time. Well, I work in the fucking area. That's not supposed to, so. Did they say why they came to you, or were you just contact you? I was not they said we saw sex messages. Something about meet them
Now, in that clip, he talks mostly about that there was some text messages. He would have the girls come and clean, be at the shop, you know, and he would have work for them.
Yeah, he was talking about, he would pick up the kids, he would give them a little bit of money, and they would come clean up and tidy up the shop.
Okay. And that he believes that it's normal for her to text him for work.
Yes.
Okay. Now, clip 4.
Do you remember that? Just that you tried to tell him like it was for the money and he's not listening? Or? I remember that. One text because we were busy. Okay. And I'll never, I've seen it. And we're back to how that.
Now, he's referring to seeing a text message but being busy.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me, what was that about?
When I believe that when she was texting him, he's referring back to when he was interviewed with Detective Mays and Johnson about the messages that she had texted him, and that he had assumed that he was going to be picking them up by the grandma's house. Then he hadn't replied because he was busy working, and then he finally replied with okay.
Okay. Now, you also interviewed Mr. Butts the next day. You came back the next day.
Yes.
What's the reason you came back the next day?
We had some more questions.
Okay. And was he once again, I guess, was he still constrained by that advice of rights?
We had him sign another one. He read another one that day, and he signed it that day as well. I'm pretty sure, or we showed him this and he agreed to it. That's what it was. This was the paper. We showed him, he agreed to it, he understood it, and he continued to talk.
Okay. So you were using that same form?
Yes.
Okay. And once again, sorry. Okay. And once again, he acknowledged his rights.
Yes.
And he did continue to speak with you.
Yes.
Okay. And he didn't mention anything about not wanting to speak with you.
Correct.
And did he give you any reason in your experience to think that him speaking with you wasn't voluntary?
No.
And just what's that? And I had past voir dire to voluntariness for the June 1st statement.
Sergeant, do you recall on June 1st, you were with your partner, Sullivan? You didn't have him sign a form.
Well, we had presented this back to him. We had this form, advised him that this was still, if he understood his rights, and he agreed.
So your words, I believe, were, you remember the form you signed yesterday. You still understand that?
Did I say that, or did
No,
Sergeant Sullivan say that?
Sergeant Sullivan said that.
Okay. You want me to say what Sergeant Sullivan said?
No, I just you went with your partner and you understand that nobody had him sign anything that day.
That he was re-advised of the rights from the form that he had signed the first day, and he was shown the form, and he agreed to continue to talk.
Are you sure he was re-advised, or so do you remember signing a form yesterday?
You would have to play to hear the exact, I can't tell you the exact words that Sergeant Sullivan said. I don't recall his exact words.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to object to this. As I recall hearing this tape, there was no reading of rights for the second date. The only thing that happened on the second date was he was advised, do you recall signing a form yesterday? Yeah, that still applies. That's not.
Do you want to play it so I can hear it?
Sure. You want to play June 1st, beginning probably the first 5 minutes.
feet from here.
So you understand. Right to remain silent and I do not have to answer any questions. Wish to leave or make any statements.
Sorry, hold on.
Any statement on anybody.
This is 5:31. How do you put that though?
Ms. Ripley, it might be best to play that to show that he, or I want to see that as well, to show on the 31st what he understood it to be.
Oh, okay, yes, Judge.
I'm sure one of the lenses you're talking about. We're going to go over your lenses that come before. I understand you're familiar with them, right? As we move along, this is not like we got to talk in 2 minutes to get out of here, right? If you're I'd like to talk to you, right? I'd like to get a little, if there's things that we're going along you don't want to talk about, just simply say, like, let's get there and talk about this. Is that fair? Honestly, there's no, we're not going to flip the script again, but we're not going to flip the script and start now figuring out, there's just a lot of things going on. We're involved in some of it, we're just trying to get like our mind wrapped around some of it. Is that fair? Okay, you're familiar with the right thing, right? Do me a favor, I should know before I read this to me. You can read your hand. How far are we going to school? Okay, all right. Where at? Oh, okay, nice. All right. You could what we're going to do is that you read those, and then initially, so you can understand. Right to remain silent, and I do not have to answer any questions. Wish to leave or make any statements. Any statement on any or anything I say will be used against me in a court of law. I have the right to an attorney present before and during the time I answer any questions or make any statements. If I cannot afford an attorney, I will be going for leave without cause or the court requires any question. I can decide at any time to exercise my rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. I understand that these are my rights under law. I have not been written or promised anything that I am now desiring to please answer any questions. Put to me a written statement. Any questions about those? Okay, do me a favor, just like initial license sign, and then others I'll sign it. Have a card sign it. So ready to take time, I'll explain exactly what I'm doing. That's what it is. Then sign it, signature, and then date and sign it. Yeah, we'll sign it whatever you sign right there. Today's May 31st, all right? I got 126. Whatever I have to do on there, I'll explain it.
Sufficient, Judge. And for the record, that was from People's Exhibit 27, and it was paused at 4 minutes and 9 seconds. And let me find the other one. playing from Exhibit 29 at 1 minute 20 seconds. Oh, I didn't share it, I'm sorry. Playing at 1 minute and 22 seconds.
Here's my thing. We talked after we left, right? And my thinking was, I'm literally leaving tomorrow morning at a 7 a.m. flight to Boston for 2 weeks of training. And I'm thinking, like, how would that look like? I talked to you, I thought we had a good talk, we had certain, some stuff that we went back and looked at, And I'm thinking, like, if I come back 3 weeks from now, it'd probably be like, for like, I don't remember that conversation. I just thought if we could, if I could talk to you this morning or today, and then you're going to be gone for 2 weeks, right? So if you want to talk to me after, if you want to, and this is going to be a yeah. Does that make sense? Okay, but I just thought, and just say that, turn the table, right? You guys come talk to me, and 2 weeks, I mean, you're back at the third week, like this, right? So I'd like to ask you if we kind of continue our talk. Can you talk some more? Okay, alright, so, but yeah, same rules apply. Nothing's changed. We don't want to talk about something, I'll talk about something. There's no training on it. So, you went over your rights yesterday. I'm probably just having signed to the form, right? Just so you're protected, we're protected. You want to just continue with this one? Okay, but you're still familiar with your rights, correct? Right? Okay, nothing's changed, right? Alright, so,
I paused Exhibit 29 at 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Judge, I would just say that it's Mr. Butts who agrees to continue with just that form. And I would also argue that another form is not actually needed. He did have that form in front of him. And in fact, because there was not even an invocation of a right, or there was nothing that would be, ambiguous or unequivocal, that there doesn't need to be another form signed. And Mr. Butts is clearly aware of his rights, as he stated. And he's the one who agreed to be okay with not signing another form and not going through with that.
And, Your Honor, I would argue that just because he may know his right does not dispose the government of their duty to make sure that he is read, understands his right each and every time they interview him. So the fact that they may think he knows his right does not mean that they aren't supposed to read him his right, make sure he understands and make sure that they're accurate before he waives them. That's not a knowing, intelligent, voluntary waiver.
And Judge, I would just say that Mr. Butts was not even under arrest for this case. There was no rights even needed.
Yeah, they testified.
He was in County Green for something else.
He was in County Green for somewhere else, but he was not in his cell. He was not on his floor. They took him to another place where he was not free to go.
Well, he wasn't free to go because of another reason, Judge, not because of anything to do with this case.
So I also learned, I heard him saying there that he went to Wayne State for college. So
That's correct, Judge.
question of whether or not you can understand is out the window for me. The male detective did offer and said that he might as well do a different form, a new form for today, and the defendant, Mr. Butts, stated it wasn't necessary, not those exact words. And he said it's the same rules. If you don't want to talk, you don't have to. And are you familiar with your rights? And asked him that, and he said yes. I don't see if there was anything that was not voluntary about that interaction. So I'm going to find, or I'm going to deny your objection and find it to be voluntary.
Thank you, Judge. And Sergeant Jones, that June 1st interview was audio recorded?
Yes.
And it was also video recorded?
Yes.
Just like the day before?
Correct.
And that video, we've just seen a clip here. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the video statement that you took back on June 1st?
Yes.
We'll put them at People's Exhibit 29.
Any objection outside of the one already?
Outside of my standing objection?
Yes, it'll be admitted.
And it was also audio recorded.
Yes.
And you had a chance to review that audio?
Yes.
And that was a fair and accurate depiction of the audio recording of the interview back on June 1st,
Yes, ma'am.
and I would move for the admission of Exhibit 30.
With the same standing objection, I would admit it.
Thank you, Judge. And now I also have clips for this.
Okay.
And Judge, do you mind if I sit while I?
No, I don't mind.
Thank you. And publishing clip 1. Sorry. Yes, from Exhibit 29.
Before you, can I ask you, I'm not telling you, I'm asking, like, did you see her? Okay, so.
And you heard Mr. Butts asked if he saw her.
Correct.
Who was he referring to?
Messiah,
Okay, and when were we talking about? Denied seeing her when?
on the 9th of January, 2024.
And I'm playing clip 2.
And yeah, I think I'm going to object to the former question.
Second. What's
Yeah,
your objection?
all we heard was, did you see her? I don't think there's enough context for her to make that statement. This is what they were talking about. If that's the question that was asked, I just asked that you go back a little bit further and play the exact question and answer.
I'm sure, Ms. Brooke, you have the full interview.
I do, Judge, but it's 3 hours long.
I don't need to hear the full interview, but if she's going to answer from the simple question, did you see her? The answer is no, that all this other information applies. I'd at least like to hear that. That's all I'm saying.
Judge, I would say that this entire interview is admitted. If the court wants to review that, I mean, I can go back a little further. It just might take 1 second. And this will be playing from just a couple of seconds back at 35:58.
Did you ask you to told her? Can I ask you? I mean, are you saying this very forward? Can I ask you? I'm not telling you, I'm asking, like, did you see her? Okay, so, that's something.
Judge, I would just say for context, the officer can talk about who they are talking about in general.
Just ask the question.
Who are you guys who are you and Mr. Butts and Sergeant Sullivan talking about in this interview?
Messiah Harris.
Okay. And if there's someone else that you're talking about, do you mention them by name?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, overruled.
And then going to continue with clip 2.
When did she go missing? January 9th? So, if you know, like, how long, when was the last time you saw her before that? Right, when did she go? That was 2 days before. 2 days before, right? Yeah. 2 days before I said, you were at the house, because you're getting out for a long time. Yeah.
And playing clip 3.
He said something like he was on time. this is where it was. And he had it in my back line. Yeah. But he had talked about a day, I don't remember which day it was, but he had talked about oil slamming and drop the car that was repaired. And he had mentioned you were there, and he mentioned Zion was there. But I didn't know, that's why I'm asking, I'm not telling him. He mentioned what he's saying, I'm not saying it, right? But,
And playing clip 4.
Was anybody with you? I don't know, like I said, was there a little girl with you? Or a younger lady with you? You were by yourself? Did he drive over also? What did he do? Oh, okay, no, I'm just wondering if it was like his car or something. Oh, okay.
And clip 5.
Alright, so like that night, like after you dropped off and all that stuff, did you hotel or did you stay at home that night?
And clip 6.
She would text you on the phone. But these things you didn't have a phone, it was a phone. So she texted you from a phone number, or from an app, or she would text directly to your number. It was a phone number.
For coming in the phone, like he said, I didn't like the technology is that where they was coming in at the phone number. Alright, okay.
I would get a call from the number.
Okay. Same number?
Yes.
Okay. Did you lock in as for? Okay.
So he
And playing clip 7.
Like that's your phone and that's her number she's texting you from, right?
she's texting this is
I'm going to pause at 7 seconds. What is it that you are showing Mr. Buss at this time?
We had a printed out copy of the text now messages.
Okay. And would those be the ones from people 16 to the 231 number?
Yes.
Okay. I'm continuing from 7 seconds.
and then it's sent, that means that she sent it, and it's received, that means that he replied something to, keep that account. So this is from a text now app. So like I said, I don't know whether that was a phone.
Yeah, that's your text.
Yeah, so,
It converts to a phone number.
okay, so
So
And in clip 8.
that's what I explained to them. But this is so weird when I hear it, like, from her, like, saying, okay, if you had seen this message, sorry, I was leaving your number, that's something I didn't understand what that meant. Like, she's leaving the message, I don't understand what that meant, I was like, just said, so I said, okay, I'll meet you, I'll be over to the house when I get done, so I'll deal with this, you know, I'll never, next time we pay them, maybe that day or so,
okay.
or I'll pay them.
The next day, how much would you do with it?
And clip 9.
Didn't know.
But, I mean, she saw her like 2 days before she went missing. Did she look back to you? She didn't look bigger, like she went in showing, was she wearing baggier clothes? You didn't notice anything different, like face being rounder? No, I mean, you just saw her. I mean, when you see somebody every day, you don't recognize the change. When you see somebody and you don't see them for a month, you're going to notice. You never heard about her being pregnant or anything like that? That's something she said something. But it was like, right, she said, I want to see what she was pregnant. It was like she wanted to get pregnant. Because this is pregnant, or she said, I was like, very well, me too, and I said, okay. And then we can see what kind of stuff.
She didn't know it was a business.
And clip 10.
So, But I saw her like 2 days before Christmas, and she went back to you. She didn't look bigger, but she went and showed me, but she wear baggy clothes. You didn't notice anything different, like face getting rounder? No, you just saw her. I mean, when you see somebody every day, you don't recognize the change. When you see somebody and you don't see them for a month, you're going to notice. You never heard about her being pregnant or anything like that?
Like something that it's the 60 or something. But I was like, what? She said, I don't know what she was pregnant. It was like she wanted to get pregnant. There's some pregnant or shit like that. I was like, no, you tell me I started that. And then they said, I was like, $2 the best.
Proceeding to clip 10.
So, even though it's deleted, right, this is all from the same app. And I want to make it clear though, I read through them, and I see a lot of them where she's kind of an initiator on a lot of things. And I think she's young, and she's an initiator. And I also get, there's history, you guys have a relationship with each other. We're not going to, when I say we're coming to a fork in the road, what I'm trying to say to you is, stay on the same path, okay? Because there's you're hurting, you are hurting with all these people coming forward. Your daughter coming forward is hurting you, yes? Don't separate, stay on the path with me, because your children that are out there are hurting because they're seeing all this stuff, right? Don't let this be the next thing that they're going to see. And this is, we can go over this together, and if you have any questions, we can talk about it. Okay? So this starts here in March. Yes, 2023. And this is where she identifies who she is. Okay? And this number here, it's all your number. And it's all your number throughout all the pages. Okay? And over here is the column that says whether the person deleted the message or not. But when we talk about the nerds, once you put something out there on the internet, it's there forever. And it's on a device, and it's in your email, and it's on your account. It's on jarvisgoogle.com. And everything that you've searched is on there. All this stuff is leading to this. And I think that there has to be a way to break the pattern. And I'm trying to get you to see what we to break this pattern. Because this pattern has been going since when we got locked up. And it may have started before that. But I think you've got a lot of heavy on you. There's a lot of heavy right here that you're holding in. And it's here. Can you call Nana yourself? These are going to be different conversations, right? She's giving me Nana's number. It's very clear that this is her. She has sent all these messages, and then you finally reply. I called already. And I see she's hitting you up again, and then you reply, yeah, and it goes back and forth, right? So here I can kind of see she's like, I just need somebody to talk to. So I think she's kind of reaching out to you. Was she going to retire or something? That's something I said as well. Alright. So here's some more sent messages. She's tired of people telling me that they love me, and then the next minute she's crying. She keeps calling for people traps and they treat her like shit. You're the only person I really trust. She asks you, do you think I'm ugly? Right? You reply, no. She says, thank you. And you ask her, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, she asked you, what are you doing? Then you reply, stop messing with people and just be mine. Alright, so I'm gonna mark that down, this wasn't meant like that. The title. Okay, so then I see there's like a bunch of these calls and different things. I see there's a pattern here again, she's constantly, where are you, are you coming to get me or what, what's going on? Yes or no, it's getting late, right? Alright, so, here she sent me pictures, do you remember what these pictures were? Those are in a separate folder, whatever pictures she sent you. She never sent you anything that maybe she was trying to see if she looked to or not, that you should have, that you already have to receive it? Yeah. I mean, you received it, we know that. There's a picture, so what I'm saying is this is just a text message. So here it tells you each time there's a message sent, right? Alright, so this is still, we're still in March. Okay. Then you sent something here, our company to you. And she said, what do you mean? You said, you heard me. And she replied, you can't do that. And then she said, she gave me one much love. Right? She always said, love you. All of you, I love you. Like, okay, it was like, oh, love. Oh. That's why we're talking about you, because things seem to get confusing, right? Alright, and we see, she sent another message. She's telling me about how she's high, right? So you're like, so? And then why are you mad? What are you doing? What is NTH? Nothing? Looking back and forth, and you come to get me. Then she says, here, you can only text me by this number. Don't text the Google Meet number no more. But then she finally got this app and it was like a consistent number. So after this Google Meet, and you're like, yeah, so I see that there's a whole bunch of stuff in here about call her, please, call her. Is this all like trying to get you to call her grandma? Okay, and then just maybe just go down to random, I love you in there. Pull up, and then be mad at me. Why would she want her to be mad at me? I see all these sent again, right? I'm still only, now we're in May. This is May. What you doing? Good morning. I miss you. I miss you too. Okay. Then you sent, I can't stop thinking about you either. Awesome. Yeah, see, this is received. So she said here, I can't stop thinking about you. Sent, and you replied, I can't stop thinking about you either. Or her mom or something? It was in May of last year. So this is around the time that she got something with her mom. So You didn't remember why? Maybe because we're ignoring her? Or because you were busy? Well, you don't keep, you don't check the background, you get stressed. Alright, so sentence, back and forth. Something about I told you not to go into my room. Why do you take my stuff? Did you take something out of the room? I found, something about the nonsense about you now. And I just want to relax myself. And I sat downstairs. I said I was in my house. Okay, says, let me see the laundry bag, and you find her. I mean, a little. Okay, it could have been her. Alright. So here's the one she sent, we're gonna get, I'm gonna call. Then we're gonna get to this one, which is, this is where we're gonna stay on the same path, okay? Can you read this one? Didn't I make you come faster than ever? I'm sorry for making you mad, but do you ever think how I feel alone that I can't have you? Is this? Yes, you try to call her. So then it goes back and forth. And she sends you, this is in June now, okay? You go and you did it from the back again? And then you asked her to send me some more pictures, please. Send me some pictures. That's what you said. So what pictures did I send? You said, send me some. Send me some pictures, please. Well, that's probably next page.
So, and then like this is going down that, just, remember what I said about, is there something maybe she's, not saying you're a victim, but is there something that she's saying to her, playing with you, right? Did she ever say anything like, I like you, you're sexual, anything like that, right? That's why I was asking, right?
This is hard to talk about.
It is.
Like I said, well, here's something about it, because these are some of the questions that we asked. And then I didn't have a sexual relationship.
That's it, right?
We got to have a sexual relationship.
Yeah.
Clip 11.
So this is entertain the thought.
So I want to ask you this.
I didn't hear anything in that last clip.
I can replay it.
So this is entertain the thought.
So I want to ask you this.
Thank you.
Ready? All set?
Yes.
And clip 12.
Send me some pictures of her after she's asking you if you're going to hit her back again. As far as that goes, send me some pictures. I see some pictures, I'm going to some pictures I heard in the audition. Outfit, something like that.
And clip 13.
Alright, now we're back to the, are you coming over? I missed you, good night, call me. Then you randomly send her, and June 26th. I want some pussy.
No, that wasn't, I didn't say that, sir. I didn't say that, sir. I said that, sir. I said that, sir. My name is, so I didn't say that. I'm sorry. Like I said, you know,
You texted Shannon?
yes.
So this would be in Shannon's phone?
Whenever that number is in use, like I said, I
So
got.
Shannon sends you text messages on it too?
I said first, it was like on my phone. Like I said, it's
So
there.
you can have some whenever you come get me, call me, you want to tell, call me, want to tell you something. You can get some today. Now here's where you can get some pussy. This is all within seconds of each other.
Okay.
Now here's why this is not Shannon.
Why is that not so?
Because the next sentence is, tell her you have an inspection tomorrow and they coming early. And this isn't discussions about, so you can call grandma.
Yes, I didn't, like I said, I never had no sexual procedure. Every time I had it, was like this, I was telling Shannon.
So,
As far as this goes, I don't remember this one. These,
so this was meant for Shannon.
that wasn't for she used, she never asked me, did anybody else say, hey, this is being used for her phone? That's all I said, that's only strangers. For anybody. Yeah, so, Shannon sent me this phone, I can't always messed up before I text my phone, so my phone was broke. Now, I'm gonna say this one, my application, I remember getting this one because I was doing my inspection, I never came to get an inspection.
Like, if you told them that there's an inspection in the shop, so this wasn't gonna work out.
I'm saying I shouldn't be done. I was just getting that, just got on the back, and I said, I don't know.
Alright, and, so are all these good morning, babe, I love you, miss you, are you naked, is this all, we're assuming, Desire, this is, she's sending them. Are you naked, I don't wanna get naked, are you mad that I didn't? Alright, so now here's where some, pictures come in. This is the fit for today, which is for outfit. And she sent another picture. This is sent, and then you send her, but I can't nut inside you, so it's different.
Yeah, like I said,
And she says, why you can't, did you do it before? And we said, but I had to buy a pill to do it.
I never first. Like I said,
What kind of pills you talking about?
as far as it goes, me and Shannon have 65 years of relationship with her. That's not Shannon question. And I really told her. I said, I was telling her that it was really because of that. I never had a sexual relationship with that.
So you're saying that's probably with Shannon?
Yeah.
How do you know?
I don't know.
Okay, I said, I'm trying to differentiate, how do you know when she would take over that phone? Okay. Do you remember typing that?
Which one?
I can't nut
Okay,
inside
I said,
you.
remember the conversation? This is something I was like, I'm reading this and the answer, I'm like, who you're from? I started that.
And clip 14.
So in here, she's talking about, all this is sent, look at how many she sent you. All back, boom, 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 all into the same amount, right? And she's apologizing for something. I didn't go see anybody, I swear, I came straight back. My friend lives right down the street, and she didn't answer, so I came back and went to sleep. I'm sorry, please. I didn't see you out for nobody, I swear.
Yeah, I remember it was that's about, she told me, well, she tell me shit, I heard she's out, on
calling you vague. You never corrected her on that? Only all like 5 to 10 minutes, you didn't respond to none of my messages, so that's all in here. Stop ignoring me. Then she says, if you don't believe me, I'll send you my Instagram password. So she sent you her Instagram, and she gave you a password, her Gmail password. I hope you believe me now. You really don't want to believe me, but I will tell you the truth. I just want to make your day better. So, when looking at this, and whether you felt the same way, she thinks she's in a relationship with you. Because while she's reaching out to you, she's confiding to you, she's calling you babe, she's saying I love you, she's apologizing, I didn't do this, don't get upset, stop ignoring me. Those are all things that I guarantee every one of the other women that get you pissed off at you or whatever, you guys probably go back and forth and say, this is not a niece uncle conversation. You may not have been looking at it a certain way, but she's looking at you a different way. Does that make sense?
And clip 15.
So there's like 2,000 messages. I'm not going to try to sit there and read them all, right? So this is where, this is still in June. A lot of stuff going on in June. Are you still picking up Janiah? And then you asked when. She said today. You said no. She said why? And you said it's just me and you. Because I was never picking her up. She says, okay, I really like that it's only me and you. Why would I did? Let's say you didn't. I didn't want to say that to her. It was just me and you because I wasn't going out there. So that's how I text you. Alright, so this is still the same day. Okay? She said, let's get that in here. Because I was never picking her up, I really wanted that. You really didn't want her there, no way. That's what you said. I know I didn't want her there. This is not that I'm not picking her up. This is, why? And you should have said, why? Because she do too much in your mind. Mine. And Shannon said that she said no for today. I know she said no for today. And she says the meaning is your mind and mine only, the dick and all of your time. So this is about what you said. So this is about the time that you said, that was like blew your mind away. She's talking about your dick. And then she says, I want to know the meaning when you say I'm yours.
Like a role playing. She's dating a little stronger than what is going on.
You still
And clip 16.
It was never a session. It was not a physical. It was never a session. Well, this is sexual. I'm saying this across physical. Right. Context works. Okay. So just so you understand, this is sexual. Right. Context works. Context is all sexual.
You're saying you're talking about it, you just never
Related. Right. So this is like sexual. I want to know the meaning when you say the word, this continues into, you're bringing
17.
Okay. These pictures that she sent, what were the pictures of? I know you didn't do anything. So what? Describe the pictures to me. If I didn't know what the picture looked like, describe what it would be. What was she wearing when she was in there? Just did you do photos of herself? Did you take them? Or did you do like top to bottom or? But you could tell who it was.
That was a little bit hard to hear. What photos? How did he describe the photos?
He described one of the photos that she had taken a picture in the bedroom wearing like some lingerie, nighty clothes. That some of the pictures she was nude, that she was nude from top to bottom. That some of them were a little blurry, but he could still tell that it was her.
And clip 18.
Then here you asked her, this is now we're in July.
I'm just going to pause at 6 seconds to.
Judge, may we approach?
Yes, please. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break. I just was informed we need to take a restroom break. We'll come back in 5 minutes. Yeah.
We got it straight. I walked over there and walked back. I walked over there. You went straight? Yeah. They actually got it yesterday. They got it right back on.
It's right down there.
You walked over where?
I don't know if this.
To the Guardian building.
Think so. Okay.
It's cold out there.
Right.
It's cold enough. First of all, it is that cold.
It felt, well, I had a hoodie, a coat, and,
You got the uniform.
my hat, yeah.
Yeah, y'all uniforms.
And I was walking fast. Shoot.
I'll be walking fast. I'll be running out there sometimes. Don't get in here and be crying.
I had a truck. Right. It's cold. I mean, it is, but I didn't get cold. Yeah. Me either. I needed to exercise. I do too.
Right.
I'm just joking.
I'm so serious. He walked to the Guardian building today. He was being strong. So it's because
It's freezing, baby.
Right.
You know when the
This one did it? Oh.
You ain't lying.
He great. He different.
the Superman right here.
Yeah. He probably had no head on his head.
Oh, I had my hat on.
Yeah.
And my ears covered up.
Oh, okay, look at you. He's prepared.
When I crossed the street, I had to keep pulling my
Okay.
I was like the theater.
Yeah.
Everybody back online.
Yeah, they said you did. So, it was like you said, everybody know PPO. They was trying to switch over to 2024 to 2000.
About the woods.
Yes.
So-
Yeah, sure they did. But they
We're
got,
gonna be coming back tomorrow.
and I started asking because
You okay over there?
I started talking.
Hanging in there.
I'm sick.
You get a little sore.
I know, right? That's how to get up.
She just made something. She said that,
have to pay for Medicare, but you have to use
You hear me?
Well, I don't know if I
Reloading, that's all.
for Medicare.
I mean, if I can get time,
When you turn 65,
We pay you
my other stuff.
you have to pay for it, but they stop paying it from your regular insurance. You still have that along with it, and your primary becomes Medicare, or vice versa. One of them becomes your primary, so you pick up whatever you cover, but you still have to pay for it. But you don't pay a premium. That's the only way you pay a premium.
I have to do 10, math, I'm 10. We have 4 exams.
There's some like we pay now. Well, we'll. No, I'm talking about.
No, cause it was just supposed to be Monday, initially it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then she took off Wednesday, cause she thought she was gonna finish in 2 days. So we added Wednesday, but it's looking like we're gonna add tomorrow, right?
yeah.
So I have PCCs at 8:30, but the first exam at 11, so we're gonna have to do maybe 9, 10, maybe later.
Okay.
To finish.
Yeah.
And in that time where we don't, we're not interrupted, right?
Right.
Then you have to. And usually, she was trying to tell me that when you put into Social Security and all that stuff, you don't work on the 65, but you put it into Social Security. So they give you a rate to sign up, you can't do this. Like, wow, you signed up. I'll be the straight back.
Lance?
You ready? Oh, yeah, ready.
Okay, sir.
Use the restroom.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're back on the record. Oh, we need to go back on the record.
Oh, definitely, no.
Oh, you the first.
You know me?
Not sure why it wasn't.
It said you exceeded 8 hours.
Did it?
Did you say that?
Yes.
Is it?
It said you exceeded 8 hours. The call is ended.
Oh, that didn't look bad, right?
I've never seen that. Just because I didn't pause it or. Wow, okay.
Oh, you got my name.
What?
Let us see where it is.
Okay. Get back on.
You know, oh, it's still live.
Okay. All right, we took a brief 5-minute break and also a sidebar. We're back on the record, 2459617, People of State of Michigan versus Jarvis Butts. We took a brief moment to have sidebar with all council to discuss timing. We've all agreed that we cannot finish today by 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and that this would be a good time to break until tomorrow at 10 a.m. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Yes, yes, Judge.
And we'll come back at 10 o'clock and hopefully finish tomorrow with by no arguments and being done with the case tomorrow by 4:30.
Thank you.
Anything else for the record?
Nothing
No,
further.
Judge, thank you.
Okay, you're done for today. All right, now to our docket.
Yes, to our back.
Why did you write it there? I don't know who did it. Like, who did you write?
The system's rigged, man, it's time to break free. Eyes wide open, gotta see what I see. Standing on the front lines, fighting for the truth. Lift the veil of lies, it's time to be the proof. Take a stand, don't you back down. Raise your voice, let's shake the town. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. Marching with a purpose, we're taking it higher. Fighting through the struggle, igniting the fire. No more silence, we'll make the noise loud. Together in this battle, standing strong and proud. Injustice fades when courage aligns. Rise up together, break the confines. We're the voices that won't be ignored. Breaking chains, yeah, we're ready for war. With the power of the people, we'll make them see a world of justice, united and free. United and free. United and free. So rise up now, it's our time to shine. Together we'll write a new paradigm. You paradigm, you paradigm. Whoa, whoa. We're the voices that won't be ignored.